Hello, everybody. I'm Honorine Ward, an alumna of the Christian Medical College, or CMC as we call it, in Vellore, South India. I am delighted to introduce my colleague and close friend, Dr. Anindya Dutta. Anindya is a fellow CMC alumnus who I have had the pleasure of knowing for close to 40 years. He obtained his medical degree at CMC and a PhD in molecular biology at the Rockefeller University in New York. He has served on the research committee of the Vellore CMC Foundation for several years and has recently joined the board of directors. Anindya, thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to speak with me today.
Honorine, the pleasure is all mine. Thank you.
So first, you were the best outgoing student in your batch at CMC. How has your CMC education been tied to the advancement of your career and career choices?
CMC was all about excellence, whether it was in highly specialized clinical care, if you remember from our times, like thoracic surgery or neurosurgery, or providing primary care to the impoverished in the villages or clinics, like rural health, the various alumni who went over to the sponsoring mission hospitals, and finally, also of academic excellence and research. And you have to just think about the work on polio vaccines, on rotavirus, on Paul Brand's work devising surgery to fix the claw hand. So excellence was all pervasive in CMC. And this drive for excellence has been directly translated in my subsequent career and choices. In my case, that turned out to be academic research, but I'm ever grateful to CMC for setting these high standards of excellence.
Thank you for that wonderful answer. What part of your CMC experience would you say has had the most profound influence on the professional decisions that you have made throughout your life?
This is another thing I'm incredibly grateful to CMC for. Living and growing up together with my fellow science students was undoubtedly the most important influence on me at CMC. It was an incredibly diverse group of students. Where else in India could a 16-year-old arrive at a place where nearly 50% of the student body was women? The students were derived from all states, from all language groups, and there was even enough representation from non-Christians like me. This constant exposure to diversity taught me to avoid some of the common pitfalls that happen in a homogeneous group, pitfalls like tribalism, groupthink that hold back creativity.
Making the decision to do your PhD and pursue a career opportunity outside India could not have been an easy one for you, as it was for many of us. Can you share with us what inspired you to relocate to the United States to pursue your professional aspirations?
Indeed, there also CMC had a major role because it helped me to think of the world as one homogeneous unit. As you remember, there are several faculty members, both Indians and non-Indians, who trained in the West. There are frequent non-Indian faculty and students who visited periodically. So the West was not a scary place or a place where, again, this is post-independence India, where there was some paranoia that the West would treat you as a colonial subject. We never perceived the West like that. Combined with that, CMC helped me recognize that compromises are a barrier to excellence. So once I decided to pursue academic research, it was a very simple decision to do the research in the best place in the world that I could do, which in my case, United States turned out to be the answer. The majority of modern biomedical discoveries have been made and continue to be made in the United States.
Finding a cure for cancer seems like the search for the Holy Grail in medicine. Your research can be significant in the treatment of and cure for cancer. What do you believe to be the implications of your research?
So I've been studying two areas. One is genomic instability in cancers, and the other is the role of non-coding RNAs in regulating cancer proliferation and differentiation. So to turning to the first, all cancers show some form of genomic instability. And it is this that allows them to change and become resistant to therapy and what makes them so deadly. So we could either put the genie back in the bottle, make the cancer cells more stable genetically, or we could take advantage of the special weaknesses that cancer cells develop when they become genetically unstable. And either of these strategies, I believe, will help us cure the disease. This is now a major thrust in the lab, with the discovery that cancer cells have a large number of extra chromosomal circles of DNA, genomic material that's not on the chromosomes, but outside the chromosomes. And these circles drive cancer. So if you could drive these circles out of the cancer cells, that could be a therapeutic opportunity. Turning to the second area, non-coding RNAs, it's a different story. Here, my personal focus is more on increasing our understanding of how non-coding RNAs regulate cell proliferation or can force an undifferentiated cancer cell to go back to a normal differentiated cell. I study the fundamental mechanisms underlying this, but I hasten to say that there are several other groups who are focusing on how to deliver some of these non-coding RNAs as therapy into cancers. So the work will have implications, but not directly from my lab for the treatment of cancer.
Thank you for that great answer. So I know you work with several organizations that promote scientific development in India. Could you tell us which these organizations are, and can you elaborate on why you chose to work with them?
So the why I chose to work with them is simple. One of the greatest rewards in my career has been continued widespread interactions with Indian science. It's the feedback system or feed forward, if you want to think about the impact on trainees.
So finally, you have always promoted and supported research at CMC. I can personally attest to your excellence at this, and have served on the Foundation Research Committee for several years. How do you think the Foundation can further help to support research at CMC?
So here I should turn to one of the best things that CMC has been at. It is a powerhouse where new ideas get evaluated and put into effect, whether it's in delivery of clinical care or research. And this is going to become more and more important as India emerges from a lower income country to a medium income economy. Academic research is absolutely essential for economies to grow, for delivering better healthcare. However, medical research is hard to do in the face of constant demands for clinical care. Despite this, amazingly, CMC has continued to produce individuals who have persisted in and excelled in research at CMC. This is what the foundation can encourage. It can support research at CMC by providing ideas for improving the organization of research, taking lines that we have learned from the United States. It can support through monetary support for building such organizational ideas at CMC. It can provide seed grants for new research. And most particularly, it can provide grants for travel or sabbaticals that will promote constant interaction both ways, both between scientists in CMC with those in the West, and the other way also with scientists and medical researchers from the West coming to visit CMC. Now, since I mentioned this difference that only a few people go into research, and knowing how deeply religious CMC is, I like to end with instances from the Bible that encourage research when I have these kinds of discussions at a CMC forum. So from Romans, here's a quote: "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. I cannot think of a better argument for research in CMC.
Thank you for that wonderful answer and for your advice and suggestions to the foundation and to CMC Anindya. It's been a real pleasure speaking with you, and I know that everyone who watches this interview will enjoy it to the greatest. Thank you so much.